Hey, good morning. Good morning. It is March 4th, Monday, very early 6:54. The market is open, so we're getting late live data in here, but it's pre-market 6:54. So just want to go over circling the wagon and showing you the end result of why having a strategy is not the complete picture. We worked on our strategy and got it to the point where I want to trade those 15-minute linear regression trend all conditions on a lower time frame chart. So I set up the strategy, but it's how, when, and where you execute that strategy that matters for your success. And here, for instance, is how you do it with NinjaTrader and Shark Indicators Blackbird. Um, Blackbird is my preferred method for strategy management because I've controlled the strategy of when, of, and where I want to execute. Blackbird shows the how. And I like the Blackbird very much because you have multiple options for your entry signals, and or exit logic. You can even scale in with other indicators or Blackbird or Bloodhound signals, or just take a standard entry, limit, or market order, or stop, or whatever you want to enter the market with. But here's the management, the money management. This is where you make the money and set up the template for Blackbird, and it's positivity over just using Raven, which will work. You don't have to purchase an extra upgrade. You can use Raven to execute the trades, and I'll show you that later. But for today, just setting up Blackbird to max out at whatever you want to just initially try to see what your strategy would be worth. So you can do what I like to do and just say, is this strategy on its face going to be profitable with very minimal conditions? And then run that in Blackbird. You can set it up to backtest before you trade it, which is advisable, and that's why we use these products, is for the backtesting. And so you can get a performance report for a time period, the prior month to start out with before you run, traps on larger reports. We can discuss the merits of that, and for limiting your exposure to the market. Part of the reason I like Blackbird is I can put in the trade time I want to trade the strategy and leave out the rest of the world. So I can say between 7:30 and 10:30 in the morning Chicago time, execute this strategy. And that's what I generated here. So it's only really 2 hours in the morning on that month. And here you can look at the trades and see that it really stayed profitable the whole time. Now this is on a 3-minute chart, executing that 15-minute condition strategy that we were just looking at on a 3-minute chart. And then you can come in and look, at your analysis, make sure that you've got something that you think is going to be profitable. So this is something we'll be adding to our walk forward test along with the JATS upper or lower solver. So I'll have 2 solvers to walk forward test. And you can do a lot with this by refining what your metrics are going to be very, very simply with a click of the mouse. Just, like saying run it without the trailing stop and resave it, hit F5, and really within a click of the button you can rerun it and get the revised metrics, and just really a click the mouse. Now it finished calculating, so we can go into the strategy performance and take a look at the revised strategy and see if that benefited it. And it did not. It did end up profitable, but it struggled for that profitability. It's still a very good strategy. I mean, we're still getting the high performance, but I don't like that initial struggling. It looked like the trailing stop was more beneficial, and here's the and then you can keep these separately open on your window. Each time will generate a different window for you. So like if you did make a change, write down on your journal, I changed the 3.5 trailing, um, and you can clearly see that you want to keep that in your strategy. You might even want to adjust it to say, if I instead of a 3.5, if I made it a 2.5. But you can see still it is a good strategy. It's just that it caught that little bit of negativity getting started, and then once it corrected itself, it did well. But clearly we want the 3.5 stop. And if not, fool around with it. You might need a 6-point stop or a 2-point stop. Just go back, rerun the number with a new setting. I'll show you how to quickly put this back in for the 3.5. I do the trailing 1.5. You have to go back in and modify. What they've got in here is they use a 20 ATR. We like to use a 14 and move this to 3. And then you have to go in and change the trailing action also. There. So again, you're scheduling your money management. So you save and close, rerun it, and you'll get that. We'll do that real quick to show us. That just make it, this is why it's so preferable to have a money management trade platform, because it's not having the strategy per se, it's being able to fine tune what your how, when, and where. I mean, and I use the so this, you can see it comes back. Yeah. There. Yeah. So we stayed positive. So you want a trailing stop for this strategy. So that's why it's beneficial to have, I mean, it just goes to show you the difference of just a few metrics that you put on, your limits. So use the software, come in, don't, hesitate to check out the money management, put your own net profit or loss on it, use the daily watermark for live trading. I wouldn't want to back test daily watermark, but you can enable it and keep an amount of your account on a fixed or percentage basis. So if you've made $1,000 and you want to keep 250, so after $250 of a loss, it'll close out. It's something like that, so that you're always walking away with a certain net amount each day. I like to control that net amount with this max profit or loss up here. And you can also limit the number of trades that you make per day. So everything about a strategy you control, and finding that magic for the market. But again, the hypothetical performance disclaimer is there for a very good reason. The markets change. That's why finding a time of the market that it moves the most consistently is a good time frame to trade, but you also may want to limit it to just the days that have economic reports that come out, so that you can make sure that once it starts moving directionally, it's going to stay in a path that you can get whatever you've chosen to take from the market that day. You may want to, fool around with these numbers and say, I only want 500 a day, so I'll move this around a little bit, but or see if it improves the strategy to limit your profit to just get your commission back and rerun it. But you are in control. You can make these, considerations for your budget. That's what I keep telling everybody. It's your money, it's your budget. Make the adjustments according to your risk parameter, and recognize that past performance does not indicate future results. Just because we're running back tests does not mean that it's going to be guaranteed. That's why we do walk forward testing, and that's why I'm walk forward testing these algos. So we're in that process now. We've built our strategies. We've decided how, when, and where we're going to execute those strategies, and we're testing backwards and forwards. That's all we can do, right? That's all we can do. Thank you. Y'all have a good day.